So you want to know the secret of how to easily beat your defender. Crazy thing is, it's actually way easier than everyone makes it out to be. You use a bat. Oh, I kid. When you think of Kyrie Irving or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or LaMelo Ball, and all the thousands of ways that they can manipulate the defense and blow by their defender with ease, it can get a bit overwhelming. Luckily, I'm here to break it down for you in the simplest way possible and change the way that you think about the game of basketball forever. Did you hear that echo? Also, yes, I'm now on a couch, and also, yes, I'm wearing a different outfit. I shot that intro yesterday, so sue me. As a coach, I've always explained how to beat your defender with a pretty simple analogy. First, I want you to think about a rubber band. Now let's look at that rubber band in two different states. One with the ends pulled far apart to where it causes a lot of tension, and one where the ends are close together and there's no tension. If you let go of a rubber band that has a lot of tension, then the ends will shoot past each other multiple times until all of the kinetic energy is finally lost and the rubber band will end up back in the neutral position. If you let go of a rubber band that isn't being stretched, well, nothing happens. Now, if we think about a defender and an offensive player, the offense has a huge advantage when there's space and the defense is forced to close that gap. The defense basically needs to overreact or anticipate what the offense is going to do. On the flip side, when you think about a defensive player guarding an offensive player where there is no space in between them, it's actually kind of hard for the offensive player to make just a simple move and force the defense out of position. Therefore, we want to create space or tension on offense as much as possible to make sure we always have the advantage. If that weird rubber band analogy made sense to you, then I can assure you that you know more than 90% of these online coaching gurus out there, and honestly, this is going to mean more to you than any one move they can show. Now, the next question you're going to ask is, well, how do we create that tension on offense? Yes, I can read your mind. And also, yes, I can tell that you're wondering how much I'm going to charge you for this little bit of secret info. It's okay. Don't freak out. It's completely free. Just go be a nice person. Spread some positivity or something. That's the price. So while there are tons of ways to create tension on offense, I'm just going to give you a few. That way, once you understand it, you can begin experimenting and coming up with different ways on your own. Again, it's about the concept of movement here and not specifically the moves themselves. First up, surprise, surprise, it's closeouts. This is the best and most efficient way to create tension and to effectively score in literally any league, and that's attacking closeouts. We've obviously covered this in previous videos, but basically, if you have teammates that can get 2 feet in the key and kick, or you've got post players that are willing to drag in the defense and kick the ball out to shooters, you're likely getting a few opportunities to attack closeouts in every game. In other words, you're catching the ball on balance with all of your moves available, and there's incredible tension on the defense to have to close that gap. If you can shoot, that is. If you can become efficient at scoring off of a closeout, you can easily average 10 to 15 points in nearly any league in the world. And another bonus with closeouts is that it's incredibly easy to practice on your own time. You can rep out these actions over and over by yourself by just following correct technique and developing consistency and confidence in your decisions. The best moves are the ones that are easily repeatable and allow you to practice them in volume over and over. Like my grandfather used to say, I fear not the man that has practiced 10,000 kicks one time, but I fear the man that has practiced one kick 10,000 times. I don't know, thought you'd get a real kick out of that one.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
What I mainly see too often, however, are players that are just passengers on the court. Basically, they're just waiting for the defense to lose track of them or for their teammates to get them open with driving kicks. The problem with this mentality is that you're no longer in control of your own opportunities to get the ball. If you're being face guarded, for example, or if you're just playing against a good defense at all, you're likely going to have to work hard to get open and to create that tension on offense. Yeah, I know how much kids these days don't like to work hard, but high-level basketball, it's hard. Just the the way it is. I literally had a teammate overseas one year telling me,
sprinting off the dribble handoff full speed, it's hard to do and it's too tiring.
Yeah, if it's difficult for you on offense, imagine how difficult it is for the defense to guard. Anyways, this is another concept we covered in our how to score video, but basically you want to get used to sprinting to open space. You can do this in a few ways. One, by walking your defender down and then sprinting out to space to catch the ball. And while this doesn't create nearly as much tension as a closeout does, there's still a few opportunities to attack. If they overplay you, for example, you can back cut for an easy layup. If they're slightly late, you can jab step or shot fake just to get them a little bit out of position to open up a driving lane. Worst case scenario, you don't cause any tension and you just get open enough to catch the ball and continue running the offense. Setting screens is another great way to create space without the ball, and it can even create some closeouts depending on how it's guarded. For example, setting an on-ball screen and then rolling to the basket will usually cause the defense to be recovering from behind. Setting an on-ball screen and then popping will usually cause the defense to be recovering from the side or from the help defense to be recovering on a closeout. Off-ball screens are treated generally the same. Basically, setting screens is a great way to cause that tension between the offense and defense. All that's left after that is to just execute. And in the same way that setting screens can be incredibly useful, receiving screens are just as important. Getting a ball screen will either force the defense to recover under and have to close out, or recovering over the top, which forces them to have to fight back in front of the ball handler, both creating a ton of tension. Now, where I see a majority of the players making mistakes in these scenarios is once they've created that tension with the defense, they don't keep their advantage or attack straight away. Oftentimes, they allow the defense to fully recover before they re-engage or try to gain another advantage. The best offensive players are able to create tension and space and then keep that advantage for their team until they get an open shot. So don't catch the ball and then go into your big man Tim Thomas ISO package mode. You just lost all your advantage and you look silly. Also, is anyone still doing the Tim Thomas double headband thing? No? Okay, good. Now, all these are great ways to create tension by using your teammates and without the ball in your hands. But I know you all really came here to know how to create that tension in space in a one-on-one scenario or with the dribble. Told you. Can read your minds. There are two main dribble moves that I teach to create tension. The first one is the retreat dribble. Most trainers will teach something like the step back as a move. I prefer teaching the step back as a movement with counters to it, which is why I just call it the retreat dribble. The step back is a terrible move to predetermine since it counts on the defense not being able to recover and ends your dribble regardless of getting open or not. Essentially, you want to be able to take one dribble backwards in an explosive movement and end up in an athletic position with your live dribble. You've just created a small closeout that you can read the defense and react to. And just like our footwork and closeout video explains, you can then attack left, right, or shoot it with tons of different counters and moves in between. Once you can understand how to manipulate the defense and needing to close out that space while you have a live dribble, that's where the individual flair comes from, and that's when you can begin to experiment with different moves. And finally, the actual cheat code and one of my favorite moves of all time, the push dribble. It's kind of a combination between the Tracy McGrady hang dribble and the Jason Tatum sidestep, but this move is nearly unstoppable if applied correctly. Similar to what we just spoke about with the retreat dribble, the quickest way around your defender is a straight line drive, usually with your onside foot. The push dribble is the perfect move to make the defense have to react to your movement, and the whole time, if you stay on balance, you can attack them to the left, the right, or if they back off, you can just shoot the ball. Obviously, there's more counters and moves to add to this, but if you haven't noticed by now, we're all about simplicity over here. I mean, sitting on a couch, for crying out loud. Just like the retreat dribble, you want to use the push dribble to create a little bit of space or tension between you and the defense. Then, depending on how they move, you can react to their positioning for a scoring option. If they overplay to the right, then you can just drive to the left. If they overplay to the left, you drive right, and if they back off, you shoot. The great thing about this move is that it allows you to survey the defense and the help side all at the same time. And most importantly, it allows you to get to the basket in the most efficient way possible, which means you basically need one dribble to get from the three-point line all the way to the backboard if you have efficient footwork. Now, I started this channel about 6 months ago, all with the purpose of building a cohesive understanding of the game and a thriving community. In that time, I plan to introduce these videos individually so that they build off of each other fundamentally and give a realistic and simple explanation of how to improve as a basketball player. So, while creating tension between the offensive player and defensive player is extremely important, it doesn't mean anything if you don't understand those basic fundamentals we've spoke about in previous videos. Knowing the fundamentals of why these things are important is essential. These concepts and videos and explanations will change the way that you ingest basketball content going forward, and make sure you don't fall into any traps of trainers that are trying to teach you how to
get good quick.
There is no easy, quick solution. It's going to take a lot of work. There are no secrets, there are no shortcuts, but the good thing is that the game is way simpler than you think. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to our Patreon members and our YouTube members. You guys are allowing me to continue to add value to the community and give videos and knowledge out for free to all the young hoopers out there. So yeah, can't thank you guys enough. To the rest of you scoundrels, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.